Morning people, Adventure Max here. I'm back in my natural habitat, the beach. One of my favourite places to be. If I'm not in the jungle, I'm happiest on the beach. And I am currently in a place called Mirissa. It's one of the more popular places down here in Sri Lanka. And generally what there is to do here is sit on the beach and do not a lot, which is perfect. The rooms in Mirissa, like everywhere actually, range from absolutely lovely to absolutely terrible. More on the absolutely terrible side than the absolutely lovely, but what do you expect? And as part of the adventure trying to go in. Last night when I arrived, I had a place booked in Surfview Hotel, and I had phoned them and told them I was coming and can we book a room. And it was the shortest phone call ever. It was one of those, yes, book a room, okay, thanks, goodbye, and hung up. And I was like, oh, okay, didn't want any more details, fine. Naturally, you get to the hotel after 8 hours worth of travelling and you just want to check in and collapse. Get there, no, we have no rooms. What do you mean you have no rooms? I've booked. Have you paid? No, there's no way to pay. We have no rooms. So I basically arrive and you've lost your booking. That's the last thing you actually want after driving, because it's dark and going around trying to find a room at 8 o'clock at night is just, and you're tired and grumpy and want a beer. It's just not what you want. So down here by the beach, it's back to being 27 degrees, quite humid, so it's very hot and it's absolutely lovely. It's just what I wanted. So I'm gonna go jump in the sea in a minute and roll around and be like a big kid. It's 6:30 AM, which is stupidly early for me. I mean, you might be wondering what's got me up at this hour to go deal with a lot of people. And it's simple. Whale watching. It's one of the few places, one of about 2 or 3 places in the world you can go blue whale watching. So I'm really excited, even though I don't show it, that I'm actually going to try and see blue whales. Got told we're going on a big boat. Not such a big boat. It's the boating area for whales and dolphin trips could be so much better. They're very much shoal fishing boats that have been converted, and now it's quite expensive. To go on one of these whale trips is 6,500 rupees, which I think is pretty extortionate, but it's the price you pay to go see blue whales, I guess. Yeah, so very excited I'm going to see blue whales. Didn't think I'd actually ever see them. I've seen a lot of different whales, but it's the first time for blue whales, and fingers crossed we see them. I'm going to be a bit gutted. Just got myself a porcelain china cup of tea. Just been given it. I don't know why, but it's the must-see thing to do out here if you come here. It's bedlam in the port. It's just millions of cars, millions of people all trying to get onto boats. This time of year is probably the worst time to do it, obviously because there's so many tourists, and you really feel it. So next time, yeah, come any other time of the year but this, but hopefully it'll be well. On the whale watching boat, and the weather isn't the best for it. All the other boats are jockeying for position. It's a bit like a wacky races construction crash derby at the moment. The whales, there's that one somewhere around here that we keep coming up and everyone keeps cheering even though we barely see it. It's not the best condition for whale watching. It's quite windy, the chop is quite high, the sea waves are quite choppy. It's just spotting something that's larger than a whale in these sort of conditions is virtually impossible. Added to the fact we've got about 1 million people on the boat, it's almost we're sardines on a boat. There's so many of them. Even get no express gourmet breakfast. Look at this. I have no idea what the ham is. It's probably chicken ham. I don't know what chicken ham is either, but I've had it before and no idea. This is what your 6,500 rupees go towards. A delicious breakfast. And token seasick people. Love that. Now one person's been seasick, and there's probably going to be about another 5. Whale watching. You could say you can have a whale of a time, but that's to everyone's opinion. Whale of a time. The boat itself was fine, a bit small for the number of people, and the tourism out here in general is a long way to go. I always get very annoyed when they have a tip jar, and they had a tip jar here. And I've just paid 6,500 rupees to go on a boat. I don't expect to then hand out tips. You know, you don't get off an airplane and all the stewards and stewardesses and captains are there with a tip jar saying, you know, we got you safely, can you give us some extra money? And I will tip sometimes on those sort of trips if they do an exceptional job, but when they don't even bother putting shoes in a basket, they sort of throw rolls at your head and don't really do anything, then I'm begrudged to pay a tip to anyone. And I did go out last night for a few beers. I say a few, I think I got in about 2 AM, which is not a bad night for the first night here. And I found a bar at the end, which was pretty much where everyone was heading. I have no idea what it's called, but the tunes were suitably cheesy. They played a lot of dance pop Euro mix with the odd trance song thrown in, which is, I don't like trance, but the other dance Euro pop, fine by me. And it is a lot of women here. It's a bit of a cattle market. A lot of the guys just sort of, you see a lot of the girls eyeing you up, and which is lovely, it's a compliment, but not for me. I think there's a lot of women here, they're probably about 40, 42, 43, just recently divorced, looking for a bit of fun, and a lot of hippies are just about to go to Goa. So this is a place you come where you're not quite hippie enough to go to Goa, but you're building up to it, and there's a lot of these type of people with sort of halfway between hanging crystals and beaded hair. I think give them another 2 or 3 weeks, I think they're going to be they'll be ready to go to practice yoga for 2 months on the beach in Goa. Food in Sri Lanka is actually a bit of a funny one. Trying to get hold of Sri Lankan food is turning out to be a bit of a mission. I can get hold of Chinese. Every restaurant I've been to sells Chinese. I don't know why, and it's not even particularly good Chinese, but it's all they have. Chop suey, noodles. Sri Lankan food, Sri Lankan curries, rotis, hoppers, or hoppies. Yeah, everywhere I've gone, oh no, we're sold out. How can you sell out of Sri Lankan food in Sri Lanka? It's hilarious. And so today I wanted a prawn roti, and the rotis are really nice. They're really like a pancake. I'll show you one later. But trying to get hold of one, impossible. Yesterday hoppies, no, couldn't get hold of one. And this is a staple diet of Sri Lanka. I just can only assume that when you come to the bars down on the beach and the western places, they just don't sell too many of them. People are more interested in just fish and chips or burger. So I think go out onto the mainland and have a look there, because there's just nothing here at all. I'm sure they do, but the curries so far have been a bit disappointing. So I'm hoping to get at least some home cooked food at some point soon and see what happens. If you're staying in Mirissa, which is, I recommend, it's a lovely place, be warned that it's like a mini Ibiza in a way, where there's a lot of music that often goes on late into the night, depending what day of the week it is. So if you try and stay there, stay. Sometimes actually not on the beach is a lot better, because it's the bars on the beach that generally have the music going into late at night. Sometimes the other side of the road is better, even though it's not as romantic or nice. Or if you want to stay on the beach, if you go to either end of the beach, it's generally a lot quieter. So on the far end, far end, there's Coral Bay Resort and Seaview Bay, and I stayed there, and it's lovely. It's nice and quiet-ish. And if you stay at the other far end of the beach, it's very colonial, very nice, very quiet. So far in Sri Lanka, I've actually yet to have a good meal. The curries are generally pretty poor quality. The food is generally overcooked. Now this isn't just because they're bad chefs, it's because a lot of them don't have fridges out here. So the only way to make sure that you're not going to catch anything is to cook the food to death. So your chicken and fish will always be massively overdone, even if you don't want it, unless you're going to a proper good restaurant, which I've yet to do. So don't expect top quality food. I've been told that the homestays, if you stay in Airbnb type places and you ask them to cook, you're looking at about 500 rupiah for a meal, whereas out in the waterfront bay places you're looking at 1200 for a good sized fish, or 1000 for a half decent meal. But again, the quality will be so-so. Sri Lankan curry isn't all it's made up to be. So far every single one I've had, and I'm probably bordering on about 10 or 15, have all been pretty terrible. The food comes out and it's lukewarm. You don't get enough meat. There's a big mountain of rice. Now I guess it's great if you're on a cheap diet, but not so good if you're a tourist. You like a lot of meat like me. I've been told they generally make it as cheap as possible, and it does show. So all these restaurants and things, they make it as cheap as possible and just don't care. As soon as someone actually comes and opens a decent restaurant here, it'd be flooded with people. I mean, there's one good bar called Zephyr on Mirissa Beach, and trying to get a table there at night time, you'll have to wait at least an hour just for a table, just because I think it's owned by Western owners, and you can see from the way it's laid out, it's staff are a lot more attentive, the dishes are a lot better. So go there if you can. One thing that's very interesting when you come to any country actually is the further away from the coast you get, actually generally they're nicer the people. So down here on the coast, the waiters and staff here, I think they just hate tourists because they deal with them day in, day out, and they just don't really care. And also, a lot of them are quite stupid. And I mean stupid in a way that you ask for orange juice and they bring you mixed fruit juice, and then you say, why have you bought me mixed fruit juice? I say, oh yes, orange juice. You go, no, this is mixed fruit. No, orange juice. You go, is it orange juice? No. And so you have this long argument with them every time about what they've bought and what you think you've ordered, and it's always different. But up in the mountains, we found that the people up there, I think like a lot of places, are generally just a lot more honest, and you can feel their vibes. They're just 100% nice people. I think it's probably something to do with the clean air, clean mind. This is a theory I have, that the cleaner the air, generally the nicer you are. And when you're down by the coast or by the cities, while here it's obviously clear air, but the cities are so close by, and it's all just a bit overpolluted really. It's a shame, but it is what it is. That's all I've got time for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!